There actually are choices in the direction of how a life can go that are contingent upon small-level quantum effects not being washed out.
I now present to you Mr. and Mrs. Richard Buck Filipowski.
Brain, when it fires its thoughts, is likened unto the landscape of a thundercloud. And the synaptic cleft is the sky between the storm and the earth receptor site. And you see this foreboding dark cloud boiling in the sky. And you see electrical impulses moving through it, veins of electric light, and then you see it hit the ground. The brain looks like a thunderstorm when it is presenting a coherent thought. So no one has ever seen the thought. What they do see in neurophysics is that they see a storm raging around different quadrants of the brain. Those are areas that are mapped in the body and what the person must be responding to. A holographic image. Rage, murder, hate, compassion, love.
The brain does not know the difference between what it sees in its environment and what it remembers, because the same specific neural nets are then firing. The brain is made up of tiny nerve cells called neurons. These neurons have tiny branches that reach out and connect to other neurons to form a neural net. Each place where they connect is integrated into a thought or a memory. Now, the brain builds up all its concepts by the law of associative memory. For example, ideas, thoughts, and feelings are all constructed and interconnected in this neural net, and all have a possible relationship with one another. The concept and the feeling of love, for instance, is stored in this vast neural
Istovremeno
net.
čistite svoje tijelo, procesirate emocije koje nadolaze i vi morate upotrijebiti izvanredno znanje obuhvaćeno tim osjećajima kako bi poslali tu energiju drugima. To je vrlo bitno. Kad ponudite taj otpust drugima, može se vratiti natrag kao prirodna vibracijska rezonanca. Ako korisno ne upotrijebite tu veličanstvenu energiju, onda ćete samo tražiti svoje otrcane odgovore. Zašto ovo, zašto ono, ovaj mi je kriv, ovaj mi je kriv i tako dalje. Ako ne budete otpuštali te emocije, kad vas neko uvrijedi, kad vi neko uvrijedi, kad nešto nije jasno i tako dalje. U međuvremenu kriza na planeti se povećava, normalno jer sve to nesređeno, sve luda kuća s tim emocijama. I grupna akcija je potrebna za kritični skok. Trivijalnost izbjegava veća pitanja. Potreba za biološku cjelovitost jer foton bed dolazi. Odgovori o životu nisu više raspoloživi samo u trećoj dimenziji. Znači, ne možemo samo tu naći odgovore ovdje na fizičkom nivou. Sve je energija i vibracija. Ako ste blizu ljutih ljudi, to vas čini bolesnim. Ljudi koji liječe sebe i koji otpuštaju dobre osjećaje u polje oko sebe, čine svakoga da se bolje osjeća. Zato, kako možete liječiti druge? Stavite ruke na njega ili ne morate staviti ruke, jednostavno šaljite emocije da mu želite izlječenje, da mu želite bolje. Možete zatvorenim očima, otvorenim očima, kako god hoćete. Kad vidite da neko bijesan kraj vas. To je jako teško, jer nama se ovdje stavlja bijesi. To je ono što nas impulsira, da radimo kontra. Znači, treba biti mirni, smiriti i slatku tu energiju ljubavi, mira, sreće, a mi onda, pošto on bijesan pa iritira bijes u nama koji je pohranjen duboko, onda mi mu šaljemo bijes natrag. To je zatvoreni krug, to je jako teško. Jako teško se toga riješiti. Još pogotovo ako znaš teško, ako ne znaš nikako. Jer se stalno vrtiš u krug. kaže, ti osjećaji mogu izliječiti druge ljude, životinje, mikrobe, biljke i duše, znači duše, ide do duše. Duša, šta je duša? Znači duša je, imate tijelo, tako, i onda imate unutra, imate tih par tijela, još eterično tijelo, astralno tijelo, mentalno, i onda idete unutra, duboko, unutra je ta duša, taj osjećaj ja, ego, individualne duše. Kad je to polje svijesti odlučilo da se multiplicira u individualne duše. Onda je rekao, aha, ja ću biti Pero, ja ću biti Marko, ja ću biti Svijet, ja ću biti to, ja ću biti ono. Ja ću biti životinja, ja ću biti pas, ja ću biti mačka. I znači, taj osjećaj, to je nivo duše, taj osjećaj ega, ja. Jer ego je, sa egom krene individualno postojanje. Bez ega nema individualno postojanje, bez osjećaja ja. Jer vi da nemate osjećaj da ste vi to, vi ne bi znali da ste vi ta osoba. Mi jednostavno ne bi znali ko ste, šta ste. I tako. A znate ko ste, šta ste, zbog toga što je taj ego se pojavio i rekao, aha, ti ćeš biti to. Ti ćeš biti to, tako i tako, izgledat ćeš tako i tako, imat ćeš te roditelje, rađeš to i tako, zvaćeš se tako i tako. Evo. Kaže, ti osjećaji su moćni izvori mentalnog i duhovnog isceljivanja koji izgledaju čudotvorni. Oni su suptilni, ali moćniji od fizičkog i emocionalnog isceljivanja, jer su mentalne i spiritualne sfere uzročne. Znači, jači su od fizičkog i emocionalnog isceljivanja, ti osjećaji, jel? Vidite što to je. Kaže, jer to su izvori mentalnog i duhovnog isceljivanja. Kaže, misli i nakane doslovno odlučuju o zdravstvenom statusu vaših organa. Ono što vi mislite i šta odlučite. Kud idete u kom smjeru. Snaga polja vašeg osobnog isceljivanja je proporcionalna snazi vaše ljubavi, koja uvijek privlači asistenciju plejade. Da li ste primijetili kako djeca u nekim obiteljima uspijevaju kao zdrave biljke dok venu u drugim obiteljima? I tako. To je to, znači kakva energija. Energija je jednostavno zemlja u kojoj raste biljka, to jest duša, to jest osoba i tako dalje. Kaže, ljubav privlači plejade u vaš svijet, naročito kada ste djeca. Znači, kad šaljemo ljubav, onda automatski smo u kontaktu sa plejadama. I plejade su taj ženski aspekt majka Božja, koja je ljubav. Za one koji su odrasli, morat ćete sve više kontaktirati dijete u sebi. Biće koje se sjeća plejade. Što znači kontaktirati dijete u sebi? To znači kad smo ljuti, da pogledamo ko je to ljut unutra. Ljut je neko u vama. Je li tako? Neko dijete koje nije izlječeno. I onda se okrenete prema sebi i onda popričate jednostavno i kažeš mu polako, dobro, pa nemoj se, sve će biti u redu, ne bili se ljudi, kad ste malo mirni, jel? I na taj način onda iscijeljujete to nezadovoljno dijete u sebi. Iscijeljujete sebe kad ste bili mali. Ovo su za to tehnike, kako se to radi, ali uglavnom to je to, suština. Kaže, ako pošaljete pregršt ljubavi, onda će se svijest Siriusa odjednom pojaviti i otvorit će se vrata na koja kucate već beskrajno dugo, jer Sirius proširuje strukturu koja se otvara s ljubavlju. Vidite kako je to vezano. Znači, ljubav, plejade, kontaktivnost s plejadama i otvaramo vrata Siriusu, koji će vam otvoriti strukturu univerzuma, kako to funkcionira. Strukturu tih dimenzija. Osjećaji su jedini put da se pomaknete van linearnog prostora, van ovoga prostora, van linearnog prostora i vremena dok ste u svojim tijelima. Jer osjećaji su jedini način komunikacije s bićima iz drugih dimenzija. Znači, pomoću osjećaja komuniciramo sa drugim dimenzijama. kako je četvrta dimenzija emocionalna, a ne fizička. Pazite, zapamtite, četvrta dimenzija je emocionalna. Shvatite? Znači, ne treba tražiti nju fizički. Nećete naći fizički, nego emocionalna. Kad vam emocije rade. Čim imate neke emocije, to je četvrta dimenzija. Ako ste mirni, ravnodušni, nema emocija, nema četvrte dimenzije. Ne da ona ne postoji, nego niste aktivirali. Čim krenu neke emocije, automatski ste u četvrtoj dimenziji. Znači, četvrta dimenzija je emocionalna, kaže, a ne fizička. Biće četvrte dimenzije privučene su u vašu sferu kako bi potakli osjećaje u vama. One četvrte dimenzije dolaze u nas i djeluju kroz nas u trećoj dimenziji. Djeluju kroz nas na fizičkom nivou. Znači, mi pomoću osjećaja ćemo nešto napraviti nekom. Ili dobro ili loše. Ili ćemo neko poslati u vražju mater, ili ćemo napraviti neku spačku, ili ćemo nekog mrziti. To je djelovanje četvrte dimenzije u trećoj dimenziji. Tako ćete naučiti promatrati dimenzije. Ne morate vidjeti to i dao Bog da ne vidite, jer bi se zgrozili, jel, svašta to ima. Ali bitno je da znate kako to funkcionira. I da sebe ne hvatate u to i da izbjegnete druge i da znate kako druge neutralizirati. Kaže, ti osjećaji potakli su drame u vama koje vas zbunjuju i tako ne možete vidjeti kada je energija zapela. Tu je energija zapela. Kada u nekom imate neki odnos loš, nešto nerješeno. To je zapela energija. Što je solucija? Posjedujte potpuno svoje osjećaje, kaže. To je solucija. Posjedujte potpuno svoje osjećaje. Šta to znači? To znači, ko bi rekao, ko bi objasnio, šta znači posjedujte potpuno svoje osjećaje?
To je da ga držimo kao iskustvo, kao nešto što imamo, ne da smo mi taj osjećaj.
Daj mi konkretno primjer, hoću primjer.
Ako ima litnje, onda je neki taj niži osjećaj, onda se da treba gledati kao nešto šta mi imamo, neki objekt koji nismo mi. Jer ako smo mi, onda u tom momentu taj osjećaj, onda radimo to što mi želimo.
Pa još je malo abstraktno, daj mi bude još malo konkretniji. Treba to ljudima objasniti koji ništa ne zna o tome.
Znači...
Neku situaciju izmisliti, ja?
Pa, na primjer, ako...
I pazite.
Postoji neki strah od nečega, jednostavno nešto radimo i dođe nam neki strah od nečega. Još u stvari ne mora biti da znamo od čega je, samo se pojavi neki strah iz čista mira i sad mi odlučimo odmah dolazu neke sa tim strahom misli kako da reagiramo van. Na primjer, nemoj ići tamo...
Naučna reakcija, tako.
Nemoj sad to učiniti, sad to stani, nemoj ići tamo nikako. To je kad uzmamo taj strah da smo mi to, da smo identificirani s njim.
Jo, dajmo ti još podestavljanje, molim te. Umaraš me, odlično, ali umaraš me. Ja to znam čemu govoriš, ali to me umaram. On ti podestavi to. Evo, tu uvatite strah, šta ćeš napraviti?
Ako kažeš kao strah je, to je moj strah ja te držim po kontrolom, ne želim da me ti hvataš.
Znači, ne prepustiš se strahu, je tako? Dođe bijes,
kao neki objekt.
Dođe bijes, ne hvataš se za taj bijes. Bez obzira, pazite, bez obzira jesi li u pravu ili nisi. To je teško. Jer 99,9% ćete misliti da ste u pravu. I 20% možete biti u pravu, 20%. Ali 80% možda nećete, ali ćete uvijek misliti da ste u pravu. I to će vas uhvatiti. Jer razumijete, samo sjećate se svoje situacije sada. To je tajna. Prepoznat to. Kada se uhvati ljutnja, bijes, ko zna šta. Svako od vas zna šta vas hvata. Neko hvata bijes, neko je bijesan. Neko voli se raspravljati do nedogleda, istjerivati svoju pravdu. I on će reći, ne, ja nisam ljut. Ali raspravlja 5 sati, uhvatio se za to. Nikad stat. Ja dakle neće nikad reći da je ljuta, a neće nikad stat kad se uhvati raspravu. Je? Neka stane, ali uglavnom ne. Tako, i da ne idemo sad do redu. Znači, ne raspravljati. Problem je u tome, ti je problem. Problem je u tome što kažu da za svađu treba dvoje, što nije točno. Treba dvoje, samo da ovaj bude kao neki prijemnik. Recimo, jedno može stalno svađu potencirati. A ovo drugo prepozna to i stane, ali ovo prvi ne prepoznaje i nastavlja dalje. I nastavlja dalje i tuče dok ne probije obranu ovoga koji neće ići u to i onda ga probije nas uhvati oba dve u kolo. I razumijete koji je to vrag? Šta je to? Teško. Imam ja taj iskustvo u svom životu, znam kako to ide. Imate i vi isto sigurno, jel? Znate kad ste vi napadali, kad ste vi bili ti uzročnici toga, a znate kad je vas neko napadalo. Kad vi niste htjeli ići u te sukobe ili u rasprave. Jel' tako? To su gadne stvari. Kažu. Da. Pazite kada ste navlačeni naokolo od nečega, a nemate dobar osjećaj prema tome. Neko vas nešto navlači, a osjećate da ne bi trebali ići u to, ne znam, to neku raspravu, to svađu i tako da ne idete u to. Meni sad je jako drago da sam s vama ovih dana. Mnogi od vas sada razumiju, kada radite s emocionalnim energijama na zemlji, da možete postati snage isceljenja bilo gdje. To je učenje Kirona. Kiron je pola životinja, pola čovjek koji vas može usmjeriti duboko u ranjene dijelove vašeg emocionalnog tijela. Znači, ispitajte dobro gdje ste ranjeni. To je otvorena živa rana. Gdje ste ranjeni unutra? Šta vas smeta? I onda to liječite u sebi. Sagledajte prvo i onda shvatite da ne trebate biti ranjeni. To je jednostavno bilo, prošlo ili vas neko ranio, što je jednostavno tako i kako je. Oprosti, idemo dalje. Kaže, kad jednom uđete u vašu unutarnju tamu, gdje je spremena bol, počet ćete osjećati snagu zemlje u vašim tijelima. Te su snage bile zarobljene u vašem tijelu od kada su Anunnaki izvukli elemente iz podzemlja druge dimenzije, kako bi vas potakli na različite drame u trećoj dimenziji. Razumijete? Tu tamu našu kad uđemo, unutra je spremena bol. Šta se dešava? Kad vi meditirate, pročišćavate se, radite duhovno na sebi, vi ulazite u tu tamu. I ta tama počne izlaziti. Što idete dalje, ona sve više izlazi. Nemojte se čuditi nekom komentirati 20 godina da u momentu bude lud. Nemojte misliti, pogledaj njega, on 20 godina meditira, pogledaj lud čovjek. On je ušao, ide do korijena tamo gdje je još 100 puta jača ta tamna energija nego na površini. Ali čupa iz korijena i čupat će to. Treba će mu neko vrijeme da prođe kroz fazu tu. Možda će mu trebati nekoliko mjeseci, možda godina, možda 2 godine. Ali on se bori, čupa i čupat će to. To je jako teško, to vas razdire, a vi morate to čistiti. To je toliko grozno da bolje o tome ne pričate. Vama možda sad nije vrijeme, međutim, doće vrijeme kad ćete morati to ovo čistiti. Nije to situacija da što bolje meditirate, da je to sve lakše i sve bolje. Je sve lakše na onom nivou koji ste očistili. Ali ovaj nivo, kao da kopate pa ste iskopali 20 metara, ti 20 metara okej, ali onda 21 metar gadan. 21 metar je puno gadniji nego onaj prvi metar ispod, kad ste počeli. I me razumijete? Zato morate prvo shvatiti sebe, drugi vas neće shvatiti, jer ne mogu shvatiti. Oni nisu počeli prvi metar kopati. Vi ste morali došli do 100 metara, a imate još 50 metara. Šta je to još 50 metara? Ali kad ne? kamen teški treba razbijati, možda na 90 metru bila tupina neka išla nekako, ali ova došao poslije 100 metra kamen, evo. Ili neka žezna legura. Ali nemate kud. Vi ne možete sad izaći van, vratiti se natrag. Možete stati na 100 metru i ne ići dalje. Ok, možete stati. Ali ne možete se vratiti. Možete se vratiti, možete ponovo kupiti to. A čemu to? Vi ste bresali se da 100 metara pracivali, pa sad ćete se vraćati natrag. Kaže, gledajte ovo. Urazumite se ljudi, ako nešto činite i ako imate loš osjećaj, ta nelagoda je signal da elementi ne vole biti uvučeni u vaše tijelo i poticati vaše akcije. Ja sam tu zapisao nešto što mi je došlo u momente. To je ono uvezano za, kad su ono onaki, kaže, izvukli elemente iz podzemne druge dimenzije. Šta su oni izvukli iz podzemne? Uran. I neke druge kemijske elemente, tako?
Sve što je rude, sve što se kopa.
Sve što se kopa. Sve to se nije trebalo izvlačiti. Sve to tamo treba biti i tamo je bezopasno unutra. Kad čim prebaci u drugu dimenziju koja nije prirodna, ono počne biti aktivno i vrišti.
I tamo je to u nekoj strukturi, u nekoj formaciji i sad se to poremeti.
Tako je. Kaže, izvuku uran iz zemlje i počnu cijepati našu ličnost. Cijepati atome u nama. Isto tako kemijsko zagađivanje pozitron, plus elektron, minus i uđemo u dualnost. Jer se slaže se s tim. Znači, razumete što su on napravili s vama? Oni su uzeli su tu jednu cijelinu, znači taj atom, što ja znam, jedan su ga podcijepali. Kako su ga podcijepali, tako su podcijepali i nas. Odvojili su nas od prirode. Razbili su vam ličnost. Na plus i minus, na dualnost. Nezgodno, ovo. Kaže, ta nelagoda je signal da elementi ne vole biti uvučeni u vaše tijelo i poticati vaše akcije. Znači, ti elementi ne vole biti u našem tijelu. Niti poticati naše akcije. Ako su uvučeni naše tijelo, onda potiču naše akcije. Bolesti i tako dalje. Uđe uran u naše tijelo, znači imamo neku nuklearnu eksploziju, tako, radijaciju, ako ne znam šta, i ona uđe u tijelo, ušao je taj element u tijelo i on mora onda raditi u tijelu, mora proizvesti rak. To je tako. Tada oni, kaže, zapnu i vrebaju u dubokim bazenima u vašem tijelu, u tim mijazmima, i kad ste izloženi izbacivanju te kaotične energije, tada ti elementi odjekuju kaosom. Gledajte sada ovo. Znači, kada dođe vama neki nemir, kad dođete u neke loše energije, svađe, probleme, tako dalje, onda oni krenu. Razumijete? Naprave dar-mar. Jer čujete što kaže. Tada oni zapnu i vrebaju u dubokim bazenima u vašem tijelu. To su ti mijazmi. To su te blokade unutra. I kad ste izloženi izbacivanju te kaotične energije, tada ti elementi odjekuju kaosom. I onda oni počnu tući i razgrađivati vaše tijelo. I rak, bolesti i ostale druge stvari. Ta se ranjena mjesta u vašem tijelu mogu osjetiti i ako poslušate poruku, nećete postati bolesni. Obratite pažnju na dio tijela gdje je bol kada procesirate jake osjećaje. Znači, kad su jake osjećaje neki tuge, bola, ljutnje, obratite pažnju gdje je to, koji dio tijela, je to stomak. Ako je stomak, onda pažnju na stomak. I pustite neka to polako se smiruje, nek izlazi vanka. Nemojte bježati od tog dijela tijela. Znači, usmjerite svijest tamo. Jer kad nismo svjesni ništa kako, kad bježimo od te boli, uzmemo tabletu, pobegnemo od te boli. Vi me razumijete? Mi smo svjesno pobjegli od te boli. I to pojačava bolest. To pojačava bolest. Pustite neka izađe to. i nestaće. Kaže, svjesno mislite na to mjesto i sa velikim poštovanjem zamolite te elemente da se otpuste kroz portale dimenzija i da se vrate svojem domu. Razumijete? Znači, mislite na to mjesto, mislite na stomak, primjer, i zamolite, molim vas, entiteti iz druge dimenzije, napustite moje tijelo i otiđite, vratite se u drugu dimenziju. Jednostavno. Probajte, ajmo skupa. Molim vas, elementi iz druge dimenzije, napustite moje fizičko tijelo i vratite se u vašu dimenziju. Razvolim jednostavno. Ili nešto drugo iskombineš tamo odgovara neka druga zamolba, jel? Kaže, Kiron je planeta. Ja mislim da Kiron piše C Hiron, jel? Kiron je planeta koja upravlja sa čišćenjem tijela i otpuštanjem dubokih bolova. Nema nijedne bolesti koja se ne može izliječiti misli. Izvolite. Izvolite, ovo predavanje, to. Izvolite, uđite.
Mi smo se samo htjeli informirati.
Samo informirati.
Nema vam kislika ovdje.
Da. Zoran, zaustavio sam malo. Nema kislika. To što vi to vidite izvana,
But we build the concept of love from many other different ideas. Some people have love connected to disappointment. When they think about love, they experience the memory of pain, sorrow, anger, and even rage. Rage may be linked to hurt, which may be linked to a specific person, which then is connected back to love.
We build up models of how we see the world outside of us. And the more information that we have, the more we refine our model one way or another. And what we ultimately do is tell ourselves a story about what the outside world is. Any information that we process, any information that we take in from the environment is always colored by the experiences that we've had and an emotional response that we're having to what we're bringing in.
Who is in the driver's seat when we control our emotions or we respond to our emotions? We know physiologically that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you practice something over and over again, those nerve cells have a long-term relationship. If you get angry on a daily basis, if you get frustrated on a daily basis, if you suffer on a daily basis, if you give reasons for the victimization in your life, you're rewiring and reintegrating that neural net on a daily basis, and that neural net now has a long-term relationship with all those other nerve cells called an identity. We also know that nerve cells that don't fire together no longer wire together. They lose their long-term relationship because every time we interrupt the thought process that produces a chemical response in the body, every time we interrupt it, those nerve cells that are connected to each other start breaking the long-term relationship. When we start interrupting and observing, not by stimulus and response and that automatic reaction, but by observing the effects it takes, then we are no longer the body, mind, conscious, emotional person that's responding to its environment as if it is automatic. Does that mean emotions are good or emotions are bad? No, emotions are designed so that it reinforces chemically something into long-term memory. That's why we have them.
All emotion is holographically imprinted chemicals.
The most sophisticated pharmacy in the universe is in here.
There's a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is like a little mini factory, and it is a place that assembles certain chemicals that match certain emotions that we experience. Those particular chemicals are called peptides. They're small chain amino acid sequences. The body's basically a carbon unit that makes about 20 different amino acids all together to formulate its physical structure. The body is a protein-producing machine. In the hypothalamus, we take small chain proteins called peptides, and we assemble them into certain neuropeptides or neurohormones that match the emotional states that we experience on a daily basis. So there's chemicals for anger, and there's chemicals for sadness, and there's chemicals for victimization, there's chemicals for lust. There's a chemical that matches every emotional state that we experience. And the moment that we experience that emotional state in our body or in our brain, that hypothalamus will immediately assemble the peptide that then releases it through the pituitary into the bloodstream. The moment it makes it into the bloodstream, it finds its way to different centers or different parts of the body. Now, every single cell in the body has these receptors on the outside.
And one cell can have thousands of receptors studding its surface, kind of opening up to the outside world. And when a peptide docks on a cell, it literally, like a key going into a lock, sits on the receptor surface and attaches to it and kind of moves the receptor, and kind of like a doorbell buzzing, sends a signal into the cell.
It's party time!
What happens in adulthood is that most of us who've had our glitches along the way are operating in an emotionally detached place, or we're operating as if today were yesterday.
What is it? Mixed.
In either the disconnected place or the overly emotional reactive place, because they've gone to an earlier time in reality, the person is not operating as an integrated whole.
Along the outside of the cell are these billions of receptor sites that are really just receivers of incoming information.
A receptor that has a peptide sitting in it changes the cell in many ways. It sets off a whole cascade of biochemical events, some of which wind up with changes in the actual nucleus of the cell.
Hi, when I grew up, I want to become a photographer just like you.
Oh.
Got any tips?
Take that picture.
Thanks.
Each cell is definitely alive, and each cell has a consciousness, particularly if we define consciousness as the point of view of an observer. There is always the perspective of the cell.
A few years later,
In fact, the cell is the smallest unit of consciousness in the body.
I'm hungry. Oh yeah! We've commandeered an entire serving planet! Yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, my definition of an addiction is something really simple. Something that you can't stop.
please.
We bring to ourselves situations that will fulfill the biochemical craving of the cells of our body by creating situations that meet our chemical needs.
It always happens to me. Why?
An addict will always need a little bit more in order to get a rush or a high of what they're looking for chemically.
Don't tell me to calm down. You're always bossing me around.
So my definition really means that if you can't control your emotional state, you must be addicted to it.
I knew this was gonna happen. That's not what we agreed upon. You're not going to screw me.
Contract,
You
dear.
won't do anything about it, so I
No,
will.
ma'am. Don't dip your half-eaten shrimp back into the cocktail sauce.
Screw you and your health coach. I am the bride's sister. I'll stick my ass in the cocktail sauce if I damn well please.
Come on. I want you to get out there and serve and make sure everybody has a full glass. Fun. Listen, you won't do anything about it, so you won't do it.
Talking just like
What is reality? What is the real?
So how can anyone really say they're in love with a specific person, for example? They're only in love with the anticipation of the emotions they're addicted to. Because the same person could fall out of favor the next week by not complying. My goodness, doesn't that change the landscape of our emotional outlook on personal needs and identities?
Oh, yeah.
Come here.
No. You got the punchline wrong. It's a photographer's joke. Go on about your music? Are you okay?
Right, I thought that couldn't fucking some good.
When?
Now.
I was with the groom.
Hey, I can read it.
I'm sorry. I was with the groom just now. Yeah, he loves Paulette. Where? Polacks, they all look the same in a tux. You're not Polish, right? Hi. Thanks. Here, this will help.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. That was in my mouth. Forget it.
So, what's your name?
Elliot. Hi.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm Amanda.
Hey, Amanda. I should have asked you what your name. You photograph a lot of weddings?
I hate it.
I'm doing the thing again with my hands. I'm sorry.
We are emotions, and emotions are us. Again, I can't separate emotions. When you consider that every aspect of your digestion, every sphincter that opens and closes, every group of cells that come in for nourishment and then moves out to heal something or repair something. Those are all under the influence of the molecules of emotion. I mean, it's this total buzz.
So you ask if emotions are bad. Emotions are not bad. They're life. They color the richness of our experience. It's our addiction that's the problem. The thing that most people don't realize is that when they understand that they are addicted to emotions...
Another drink?
It's not just psychological. It's biochemical. Think about this. Heroin uses the same receptor mechanisms on the cells that our emotional chemicals use. It's easy to see then that if we can be addicted to heroin, then we can be addicted to any neuropeptide, any emotion.
To the groom!
To the groom.
Food.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Hello. What do we need?
Some boxes. Put out. Yeah, baby.
The relevant search command that's going on is related to finding a certain emotional state. I mean, we can't even direct our eyes without having an emotional aspect to it.
She wouldn't fall for me.
Oh, mama! Woo! What the hell are you waiting for? Come on, you little pussies! Jeez, I can't believe you guys! What are you? Ooh, come on, just get the hell out of the way! Hi there, honey! Come on, baby, you know you want it. Oh, don't give me that look.
What about people who are addicted to sex?
Hello there, big boy.
Is there a rocket in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
I want to hear some. Did you not touch anything already? It's very expensive equipment, all right? Some polka music, okay? These people want to hear some polka music.
You can't have a Polish wedding without polka music!
No, would you leave it alone? Keep your fucking hands up!
How can you have a Polish wedding without any fucking Polish music?
Keep your fucking hands off my equipment, man!
Like I said before, it ain't a Polish wedding without a polka!
Our mind literally creates our body.
So it all starts in the cell. The cell is a protein-producing machine, but it gets its signal from the brain.
One of the things about receptors is they change in their sensitivity. If a given receptor for a given drug or internal juice is being bombarded for a long time at a high intensity, it will literally shrink up. There will be less of them, or it will be hooked up in such a way that it is desensitized or downregulated. So the same amount of drug or internal juice will elicit a much smaller response.
bombarding the cell with the same attitude and the same chemistry over and over again on a daily basis, when that cell finally decides to divide, when it produces a sister cell or a daughter cell, that next cell will have more receptor sites for those particular emotional neuropeptides and less receptor sites for vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fluid exchange, or even the release of waste products or toxins. Now, all aging is a result of improper protein production. What happens when we age? Our skin loses elasticity. Well, elastin is a protein. What happens to our enzymes? We don't digest as well. What happens to our synovial fluid? Those are proteins. They become brittle and stiff. What happens to our bones? They become thin. So all aging is a result of improper protein production. So then the question arises, does it really matter what we eat? And does nutrition really have an effect if the cell doesn't even have the receptor sites after 20 years of emotional abuse to even receive or to let in the nutrients that are necessary for its health?
Okay, guys, it's time for a course correction on our trajectory along the path of our adventure. And that course correction is the movement to a new paradigm, just an expansion of the old. Just as the universe is larger than we thought it was in our modeling. And it's always larger than we think it is.
I hate you.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what thoughts can do to us.
No one has ever came along and ever given you sufficient, intelligent knowledge about your beautiful self, how you work from the inside out. Why do you have addictions? Because you have nothing better. You have dreamt of nothing better because no one has ever taught you how to dream better. Do I think that you are bad? I don't think you're bad. Do I think you're good? I don't think you're good either. I think you're God.
In general, the field of psychiatry really doesn't allow for enough freedom of action on people's part, meaning an awful lot of problems, not all of them to be sure, but an awful lot of problems that get labeled as psychological problems really amount to people making rotten choices, and they ought to be instructed to make different ones.
Can I? Wow.
When I talk about we disappearing, I don't mean that we physically disappear. What I mean is that we move out of the area of the brain that has to do with our personality, that has to do with our association to people, our association to places, our association to things and times and events. We don't exist in the associative centers in our brain that reaffirms our identity and reaffirms our personality. For the average person in the world who lives life and considers their life boring or uninspiring is because they've made no attempt to gain knowledge and information that will inspire them. They're so hypnotized by their environment through the media, through television, through people living and creating ideals that everybody struggles to become, that no one can actually become in terms of physical appearance and definitions of beauty and valor that are all illusions, that most people surrender and live their life in mediocrity. And they may live that life, and the soul may never really, their desire may never really rise to the surface, so they may want to be something else. But if it does rise to the surface, and they ask themselves if there is something more, or why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Where am I going? What happens when I die? They start to ask those questions. They start to flirt and interact with the perception that they may be having a nervous breakdown. And in reality, what they're doing is that their old concepts of how they viewed their life in the world start to fall apart. We're in completely new territory in our brain. And because we're in completely new territory, we're rewiring the brain, literally reconnecting to a new concept. Then ultimately, it changes us from the inside out. If I change my mind, will I change my choices? If I change my choices, will my life change? Why can't I change? What am I addicted to? What will I lose that I'm chemically attached to? And what person, place, thing, time, or event that I'm chemically attached to that I don't want to lose because I may have to experience the chemical withdrawal from that? Hence the human drama.
I hope that you can come tonight. I really want to see you. I really want to talk to you. I know we can work things out.
It's the only planet in the Milky Way that has habitation that is steeped in enormous subjugation of religion. You know why that is? Is because people have set up right and wrong.
If I do this, I'm going to get punished by God. If I do the other thing, I'm going to get rewarded. This is a really poor description that tries to map out a path in life for us to follow, but with deplorable results, because there really is no such thing as good or bad. We're judging things far too superficially that way. Does that mean you're in favor of sin and licentiousness and depravity? No. It simply means that you need to improve your expression and understanding of what you're dealing with here. There are things that I do, and I know they'll evolve me. There are other things that will not evolve me. But it's not good or bad. And there's no God waiting to punish you because you did one or the other.
There is no God condemning people. Everyone is God's.
At the same time, God is this sort of placeholder name for those parts of our experience of the world which are somehow transcendent, somehow sublime.
I have no idea what God is. Yet I have an experience that God is. There is something very real about this presence called God. Although I have no idea how to define God, to see God as a person or a thing, I can't seem to do it. It's kind of like asking a human being to explain what God is similar to asking a fish to explain the water in which the fish swims.
God is a superposition of all the spirit from all things.
You are a God in the making, and you have to walk this path. But someday, you have to love the abstract as much as you love the condition of addiction. The only way that I will ever be great to myself is not what I do to my body, but what I do to my mind.
So if we're consciously designing our destiny, and if we're consciously, from a spiritual standpoint, throwing in with the idea that our thoughts can affect our reality or affect our life, because reality equals life, then I have this little pact that I have when I create my day. I say I'm taking this time to create my day, and I'm infecting the quantum field. Now, if is in fact the observers watching me the whole time that I'm doing this, and there is a spiritual aspect to myself, then show me a sign today that you paid attention to any one of these things that I created, and bring them in a way that I won't expect. So I'm as surprised at my ability to be able to experience these things and make it so that I have no doubt that it's come from you.
The brain is capable of millions of different things that people just really should learn that how incredible they actually are and how incredible their minds actually are. And that not only do they have this unbelievable thing within their head that can do so many things for them and can help us learn and can actually change and adapt, and it can make us something better than what we actually are, and it can actually help us to transcend ourselves. That there may be some way that it can actually take us to a higher level of our existence where we can actually understand the world in a deeper way, where we can understand our relationship to things and people in a deeper way, and we can ultimately make more meaning for ourselves in our world. We can show that there's a spiritual part of our brain, but it's a part that we all can have access to, and it's something that we can all do.
We have to formulate what we want and be so concentrated on it and so focused on it and have so much of our awareness of it that we lose track of ourselves. We lose track of time. We lose track of our identity. And the moment we become so involved in that experience that we lose track of ourselves, we lose track of time, that picture is the only picture that's real, and everybody's had that experience when they've made up their mind that they've wanted something. That's quantum physics in action. That's manifesting reality. That's the observer in full effect.
Your consciousness influences others around you. It influences material properties. It influences your future. You are co-creating your future.
Show me a sign today that you paid attention to any one of these things that I created and bring them in a way that I won't expect. So I'm as surprised at my ability to be able to experience these things and make it so that I have no doubt that it's come from you.
Consciousness is related to something fundamental.
Have you ever seen yourself through the eyes of someone else that you have become? What an initiation. Have you ever stopped for a moment and looked at yourself through the eyes of the ultimate observer?
I am much more than I think I am. I can be much more even than that. I can influence my environment with people. I can influence space itself. I can influence the future. I am responsible for all those things. I and the surround are not separate. They're part of one. I'm connected to it all. I'm not alone.
Knowing that there's this interconnectedness of the universe, that we are all interconnected and that we are connected to the universe at its fundamental level, I think is as good an explanation for spirituality as there is.
It is my belief that our purpose here is to develop our gifts of intentionality and learn how to be effective creators.
We are here to be creators. We are here to infiltrate space with ideas and mansions of thought. We are here to make something of this life.
To acknowledge the quantum self, to acknowledge the place where we really have choice, to acknowledge mind. When that shift, our perspective takes place, we say that somebody has been enlightened.
Quantum mechanics allows for the intangible phenomenon of freedom to be woven into human nature.
Quantum physics, very succinctly speaking, is a physics of possibilities. It opens fundamentally the question of whose possibilities and who chooses from these possibilities to give us the actual event of experience. The only answer that is satisfactory, both logically and meaningfully, is the answer that consciousness is the ground of all being.
We must pursue knowledge without any interference of our addictions. And if we can do that, we will manifest knowledge in reality, and our bodies will experience it in new ways, in new chemistry, in new holograms, new elsewheres of thought, beyond our wildest dreams.
All of us one day will reach the level of the avatars that we have read about in history, the Buddhas and the Jesus.
Welcome to the kingdom of heaven, without judgment, without hate, without testing, without anything. That we simply are has allowed this reality we call real, from the power of intangibility, to pull out of inertness action, chaos, and hold it into its form, and we call it matter.
How can we measure the effects? We get to live our life and see then if somewhere in our lives something's changed. And then if it has changed, we become the scientists to our life, which is the whole reason why we're here.
Don't just take it at face value. Test it out and see whether it's true.
Hey, you're back. I'm back. So you never answered my question?
What question?
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
Ponder that for a while.
My name is David Albert. I got a PhD in theoretical physics.
I studied biochemistry at Rutgers University, and then went to chiropractic college at Life University in Atlanta, Georgia. My postgraduate training is in anatomy and physiology, neurochemistry, neurophysiology, and genetics.
I study quantum physics. I sometimes teach it. I've written a book on quantum physics and many books explicating the meaning of quantum physics.
After my PhD from Harvard, I went to CERN, the European Laboratory for Particle Research, and then joined faculty at Stanford. And my work there has been the development of unified quantum field theories. I have about 100 publications in this area, but perhaps I'm best known for the discovery of supersymmetric flipped SU5 grand unified field theory.
I make my living as an anesthesiologist, and every day as I put my patients to sleep, I kind of wonder where they go and why they're there in the first place. And that's one of the reasons that attracted me to anesthesia and the study of consciousness.
My name is Michal Ledwith, and for most of my life I was a professor of theology.
I'm Dr. Daniel Monti. I'm a physician with specialty training in psychiatry and human behavior. I'm on the full-time faculty at the Jefferson Medical College.
I actually got very interested in studying this whole topic of the brain and spirituality because it had to do with a lot of the questions that I was asking ever since I was a child about reality and how we understood truth and what was real. And as I grew up and as I realized that while spirituality was in some senses a very important part of trying to find those answers, science also was a very crucial part. And I was ultimately looking for some way of bringing those two forces together.
Well, my name is Candace Pert, and I'm a professor at Georgetown in the medical school.
Here we are actually filming great thinkers. Everyone in this room is a great thinker. Now that we got them thinking, that's always a trick, isn't it?
I should make it clear that I'm a graduate student in physics. I'm not a full-fledged theoretical physicist yet. But if fortune smiles on me and I continue to work like a dog on my problem sets and exams and whatnot, eventually what I hope to do with this is to apply fundamental quantum theory to quantum information processing.
So I decided, well, if I gave up being department chairman, and if I gave up all my professional committees, and I gave up all my government committees, I would have a block of time that I could put to work. Of course, I give up all my power positions, but you have to sacrifice something. I had to keep my day job because my family needed to be fed.
I presume that you're asking me how scientists can sound this wacko because I must be sounding wacko. It's really an interesting question. If you study science long enough, and seriously enough, and dig deeply enough, if you don't come out feeling wacko about it, you haven't understood a thing.
Is everyone a mystery? Is everyone an enigma? They most certainly are.
Asking yourself these deeper questions opens up new ways of being in the world. It brings in a breath of fresh air. It makes life more joyful. The real trick to life is not to be in the know, but be in the mystery.
It's time to get wise.
Why do we keep recreating the same reality? Why do we keep having the same relationships? Why do we keep getting the same jobs over and over again? In this infinite sea of potentials that exist around us, how come we keep recreating the same realities? Isn't it amazing that we have options and potentials that exist, but we're unaware of them? Is it possible that we're so conditioned to our daily lives, so conditioned to the way we create our lives, that we buy the idea that we have no control at all? We've been conditioned to believe that the external world is more real than the internal world. This new model of science is just the opposite. It says what's happening within us will create what's happening outside of us.
There's a physical reality that is absolutely rock solid, and yet it only, if you want to put it this way, it only comes into existence when it bumps up against some other piece of physical reality. That other piece may be us, and of course we're partial to those moments. But it doesn't have to be either. You know, it could be just some incidental rock comes flying along and interacts with this fuzzy mass of stuff, and sure enough, it provokes it into a particular state of existence.
And there were philosophers in the past that said, look, if I kick a rock and I hurt my toe, that's real. You know, I feel that, it feels real, it's vivid, and that means that it's reality. But it's still an experience, and it's still this person's perception of it being real.
Scientific experiments have shown that if we take a person and hook their brains up to certain PET scans or computer technology and ask them to look at a certain object, and they watch certain areas of the brain light up, and then they've asked them to close their eyes and now imagine that same object. And when they imagine that same object, it produced the same areas of the brain to light up as if they were actually visually looking at it. So it caused scientists to back up and ask this question. So who sees then? Does the brain see, or do the eyes see? And what is reality? Is reality what we're seeing with our brain, or is reality what we're seeing with our eyes? And the truth is that the brain does not know the difference between what it sees in its environment and what it remembers, because the same specific neural nets are then firing. So then it asks the question, what is reality?